Tuck and Skinner obviously not their best game last night, and the one thing I sense in the recent games especially, the other team's top players have really had their way with you. How much do you need your top players other than Tage to really elevate their game tomorrow and give you more than you've been getting?
Well, it's not going to be hard for our top players to elevate, and I say that respectfully. They haven't been feeling it the last couple, with the exception of Thompson is just. But I love the way he has taken charge. You hear it, you see it, you feel it on the bench. I mean, he is fully engaged and playing a much more direct and hard game. And I think that, when you're where I think we lost the last two games to teams that came in here and were willing to play simpler and harder. And I don't mean that we didn't play hard. They played harder. They played with more intent. And we were sitting there empty-handed after both nights. And that's something that we have challenged. We need to accept that as a challenge and do better in that area, taking more initiative to play, harder and even a simpler game.
To build on Mike's question, you did so well against Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby. I mean, you guys played a real good game against them. And as Mike said recently, the better players have done better against you. Is there any reason why all of a sudden, since, as I said, you did so well against two very good players in this league?
When you look at our team and we think of matching against top players, with us, with Samuelson and Yokoharu, they play a major part of that. We actually, and we've talked about it post game, that our matchups would really run through those guys more than the forwards. I think where we're at, as a franchise, we're the youngest team in the league, and these are used. We're producing goals. I think we're up in the top end of the league in goal production. And now you're trying to figure out that, oh my gosh, we got to pay attention to these details too, because it's not just about goals, it's about winning. So on the positive side, yes, we're scoring goals, but with a younger team, when you turn a focus one way, sometimes something else slips. Perfect example might be, I got a lot of questions on the power play. The power play, it's going to kill us if we don't get the power play going through 7 games. I don't know what our record was, but it was a good record, and our power play wasn't going. And I was almost, and I said, I'm not worried about the power play, because you start worrying about, and here we are, we fixed the power play, if you want to say so, because we're running pretty hot, but we focused on that. Something else drops off, and that's an indication of, yes, experience. And unfortunately, when you go through these reps of adverse situations, eventually they all start to accumulate, and you realize, I have to pay attention to this area of detail, this, on and on and on. That's gaining experience. So I think that showed a little bit the last few nights, and even after we started feeling good about our game, some of those details slipped as our focus turned elsewhere. That's just a sign of a need for more growth, and so not anything shocking, but absolutely information that our guys need to make the next step in experience.
And you talk about inexperience versus experience, and now you're playing Boston, full of experience, a team and a team that you've had zero success against for about 4 years. I mean, how much of this game is about you, and how much is figuring out how to unlock the key against them?
Yeah, it is. It's all about us. We know they're a great hockey team. Obviously, you mentioned the statistics. They point that they've had our number, but bottom line is they're a top team, and Vegas and them are the two hottest teams in the league. Through the first 15 games, it's clear and evident that that's the case. But our challenge is, how do we target what needs to be improved on from last game? It's virtually a repeat scenario. You have an extremely prolific group of hockey players playing at a peak level in Vegas, and you have the same coming in tomorrow night. But the difference last night was we gave up too much free and easy chances against us. Literally free and easy. They didn't have to work for several chances. That needs to be cleaned up, and I think we can play with a greater intent and intensity. And so it's really about us doing those things. If we're going to have success tomorrow, it's us cleaning those things up.
Don, Casey has, I guess, goals in 2 of the last 3, and he does have some stats this season. But just his 5-on-5 production, I mean, I guess what does he need to do to just ramp that up?
I'd like to. He's going to ramp it up. You think he's even paying more attention to that. We work every day to figure out, okay, how can we help that on the coaching side? But I think he's doing the things, in practice, in games. I think there's growth areas that we can give him as coaches that'll clean it up. But we notice that as well, Bill, I guess. The answer's yet to be seen, but we are targeting that. And I think Casey is too, being more productive 5-on-5.
Is he more? Go ahead, Jordan.
Oh, tomorrow's Hockey Fights Cats today. What does the initiative by the league mean to you personally?
It means a lot, I think, to lots of people. I don't think there's anybody that hasn't gone through cancer, with family, loved ones, or themselves. And I think it's a great initiative by the league to make awareness that hockey's a big thing, but this is a bigger thing, and we should pay attention to it. And my personal thoughts are that I would hope it brings awareness to patients, survivors, family members, to be thoughtful of those others going through it. And I know that support for me personally is and was a huge factor in what I went through, and would wish that type of support to anybody.
With Tage, curious how encouraging it is to see him in these big games, big stage last night. It seemed like he wanted it. He wanted to be that guy that everybody was following. He wanted to put the team on his back. How encouraging is it to see that in a big spot?
Tage's response the last few games is flat out leadership. It's playing with the intention and intensity that we need to see through each guy. Each guy can do what Tage has done in the last few games from the standpoint of just intent. Now, his skill set's different, and he can probably produce more than some others because of that skill set. But it's the intention, the intensity, the determination he's brought the last few games that are real leadership qualities at a crucial time for us. So I love his game. I love the way he's approached it. Very vocal on the bench. I think a couple games ago I remember somebody telling him nice shift, and he turned around and said, "No, do not say that. It was not a good shift." And he just will not accept. His bar of excellence is set very high. His personal standard is high, and you see that each and every day. And I think anybody that watches sees that. So real key for us right now.
How have you noticed Eric Comrie, some just weird, unlucky bounces the last handful of games? How have you noticed him mentally handle the ups and downs?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge to anybody. I mean, he makes 3 breakaway saves, and then we don't give him, and we still give up some chances that, I would say, were freebies. They didn't have to work for him. We just, botched a play or didn't get the puck where we should have and needed to. And he's, he can only do so much. I think, through repetition, that's going to eventually be a goal or a goal against. So I think he's battled very well, and he's made some key saves, enough key saves that, we've really been in each and every game we've played. And that's a testament to him and a testament to maybe our ability to score. But, we obviously have to learn to play smarter.
And as far as Casey goes, it seems like he's reached a stage in his career and his maturity where when he's going through maybe a stretch like he has, he knows how to deal with it, and he can handle it and be self-reflective. Is that correct, I guess?
Yeah, Casey's response to adversity is he's very determined. He's a competitive guy. And our job as coaches is to help him pinpoint, okay, what technically can you do to help yourself in the situation. His intensity is always good. He's always ready to battle. So he, even if he's fallen off production, he still competes very well. Now it's again acquiring the hindsight, the knowledge, the experience at this level to see how see and find ways how he can be more effective making plays, creating scoring chances. And I think he'll, based on the, watching him recently and starting to turn our attention to him a little bit more on the coaching side, much like we would with the power play, for example. When the power play's not going, you turn your attention there, you help the situation. I think Casey's going to. I don't worry about Casey in the long run. As long as he keeps competing, he'll, with his skill set, he'll resolve the issues.